Or baby brother, as one of my sisters wrote on my tag here. I've half prepared a speech and then I ran out of time, so I'll make up the second half. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all here, and especially those of you who have travelled from far outside Christchurch, including Western Australia, Morgan, and from the east coast, Ailith and Vic, and also particular mention to Mum's cousin Betty Matthews from Wellington. So Mum has another living cousin in Auckland who couldn't make it here today. Of course, nephew and a few nephews here. Ron Taylor, Dot from Geraldine, nieces Mary, husband Alice from Pauline. Pauline hasn't managed to make it because she's had a hip operation. And representing the Andrews boys are Betty's nephews Robin and George. Almost all of the 16 grandchildren are here, along with 5 great-grandchildren, with 2 more currently under construction. They're here as well. Has anyone got anything else to reveal? No? Okay. Special thanks, of course, to Betty's project manager, the unpaid and professional Chief Executive Officer, Claire, for her, as usual, superb mega organisation and effort for tonight's events. She's not called Auntie Useful for nothing. Mum has waited all her life for this moment. Her birthday has always been overlooked and lost in the Christmas rush. For many decades, she has felt cheated of presents and parties. But I've been guilty of this, like, here Mum, here's your birthday and Christmas present, 2-for-1 deal in the past. So it's been a 90-year wait, and on this one occasion, forget about the 100th, Mum's birthday is more important than Christmas, for us anyway. What can I say about my mum? Mother of 6, and example to dozens of others. How do you do it? How many 90-year-old sort of positive role models do you know of? I don't think you could count too many. Do you know of any mothers who had bolt locks installed on the inside of their kitchen doors? Mum did, for her own safety and sanity, preparing the evening meal. She had to lock us out at times so she could get on with it. So for those early years bringing us up, Mum, thank you very much. We must have caused you great distress at times. But you always had a great store of activities and so on, and quite inventive on rainy days. And for example, things you learn. Ailith said tonight that her eyesight was damaged when she was young. She said someone dropped her. So I don't know who, but it must have been fairly rough and affected her eyesight a wee bit. I think one secret is Mum's young outlook, forward-looking focus. She always was ahead of her time. Claire has taken her to some looking at homes recently. She may consider the next 10 or 15 years going into a home. And Mum always commented, come away and said, they're so old in there. She doesn't kind of realise that
everybody
most
looks so old.
Are younger than her. Also, special mention for Auntie Margaret, Dad's older sister. This is her 90th, not her first year. Not the third. Way back in the 60s, she attended Keep Fit sessions, and they morphed into blue rinse and leotard yoga classes. And she picked up an interest in health foods well before its time. I remember there were 2 lines of food coming into her house. There was the white bread and then the wholemeal bread. The white bread was for Dad. There wasn't any of that healthy rubbish. And I think Dad used to put extra lashes of butter on his white bread just to make a point. So I thank you for starting my interest in yoga, which has also been followed by my 2 daughters. And that leads us to her second secret, and that is one of having had and having a wide range of interests. For example, one of the first many extensions that Dad built on the house at Linden Street was a sewing room for Mum. She kept the family in clothes and her knitted jerseys and jumpers, and who can forget the Davy Crockett hats. We thought they were quite neat, us boys, made out of possum skins. At various times she's followed her interests in basket weaving, ikebana, flower arranging, cane weaving, mosaics, and who can forget the Tika Bay daily swims out to the raft, flounder fishing, shell and driftwood collecting. A whole lot of things that some may mention, and I'm going to invite people up to speak after this, and I'm sure some of you will have a few things to say, some stories. She encouraged our interests and allowed us to be ourselves as individuals. I think that's a very great gift that she's given to our 6 children and to her grandchildren, and particularly along with the environment provided, especially at Tika Bay, which many here have had the fortune to share, and some Tika Bayians are here tonight. This is where I've just got a few brief notes. I think the third thing about Mum is her open-mindedness, not so open-minded that her brain stops around, but she's tolerant and liberal. She'll consider other points of view. In fact, as some of you can attest, she will take the contrary point of view often, just to create a controversy. And she's quite unflappable. She doesn't bat an eyelid no matter what. In fact, the more outrageous the events, the better. Her heart actually doesn't miss a beat. She's a good sport. We can probably recount many things. I remember Dad was building the rumpus room. That went along with the bolts on the kitchen door. You know, we had to go to the rumpus room, my mum prepared dinner. But when it was being built, there was a plank across the concrete that had been laid. I think Mum was going one way, and the toilet had become an outhouse. It was being attached inside the house with a new extension. Mum was coming one way with a potty filled with urine. I think, Jane, it was yours. And coming the other way was Graham and John, and I forget who was in front, but one brother pulled the other back. One leg went up and kicked the potty, went all over Mum. So, good sport. And along goes with her style is a lot of substance. Her book club friends keep telling me that she's intelligent. And she also regularly attends the Court Theatre and does other activities. So that's why we've come here tonight. I think Mum's youth, her young attitude, her open-mindedness to consider all points of view. In fact, if you want to know, she's actually the clearinghouse for family news for grandchildren. If you want to know something about what someone's doing, you go and ask Mum. She knows. And also, she's a gathering point for lots of different families here. Once Mum goes, whether it's before me or after, I don't know, that gathering point, one of the main gathering points for different branches of families, Taylor, Tweedies and Andrews will kind of disappear with her. She's the last of 6 children. I've never thought of my mum as an eccentric, but I suppose she is a wee bit. But if you knew her brothers and sisters, she's like a light Andrews version of, say, Uncle Jim and Cecil and Marjorie, and of course, better mention Grace. But she has a lot of those elements still there with her person, and don't you forget it. She's very strong-minded, don't forget that either, and very clear about her views. I think, again, I should mention the wonderful work and organisation that Claire does in keeping Mum in her own home, which she thoroughly enjoys. And I particularly noticed Mum enjoying a lot of social events, but also her own company. She spends a lot of time thinking and sharing stories with people. So, you young ones, when you get the time, drop in and see Mum, have a chat to her. A lot of family history she has, which someone should record at some stage. So, who should I call on to talk next? Yeah, toast to be a good one, Kirsten. Yeah. Okay, let's have a toast to Betty for her 90th year, heading into her 10th decade. Hooray!